Thank you and welcome to Move Beyond the Block TV. I am so excited to have you all with us and the podcast as well. Just trying this new thing out of having dual citizenship on podcasting platforms as well as video and YouTube streams. And so just excited today. This is just a wonderful day, and you'll hear more about why that is. But I am very, very, very excited, and you'll hear more about why that is as well. Just get right to it, right? Just get right to it. I am so elated. Let me give the backstory of this guest that I'm having on. There was a few days before the holiday, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, there were a few days before the Christmas holiday. And Clubhouse, I just been on Clubhouse for maybe a couple of weeks and really just finding my way around and finding different rooms and really getting to know the app. And one morning early, because I actually was away in Vegas visiting my sister's home, so what is early there for me was a little later in the day. So I'm like, okay, while the house is quiet and everybody's doing, still just rising or getting their last little hours of slumber, let me get on this app. And I did. I got into this room that was hosted by this sister, and it was about affirmations, and it was Dear Sister Affirmations. Something about that name, and I hope I'm saying, I can't recall the exact name, but it was Dear Sister for sure, and affirmations was also in the title, and it just pulled at me and pulled me into this room. And from that room, I learned about this project, a book, and other projects that the sister was a part of. And the book alone is what she was doing these readings from this book. And everybody who was in the room got a reading, a personalized reading based on their stream of consciousness. And mine spoke to something that I needed to hear at that moment. It spoke to being love and accepting love and being bold and unapologetic. It just was, I still can hear the affirmation to this day that your voice will save lives and liberate lives. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And I felt so compelled that I went to the sister's page and was like, listen, I'm about to purchase this book right now. And I did, and had no clue who I was speaking to. I didn't care about who I was speaking to in terms of what titles or whatever. What I was responding to was that powerful energy in the room on that day. And it was other sisters in that room, and we've all been connected in some shape, form, or fashion. And so without further ado, let me introduce to you who we will have on today. Today's guest will be none other than Mrs. Veronica Very. In the age of pandemics and protesting, Black love is her radical protest. I love that. She's a Seattle native, and Veronica Very is founder and visionary of Wonder of Women International. Wonder of Women, WOW, was founded in 2016 to create sacred healing spaces for Black women and girls to find their voice, stand in their truth, and tell their story. WOW centers the power of storytelling and art to help heal and liberate Black women from emotional pain of anti-Blackness, traumas, and racial inequities. Since its founding, Veronica Very and her co-founder and husband, Hiawatha D, have traveled across the nation and to South Africa doing the work. Veronica's work through WOW inspired Girl Trek, the nation's largest public health nonprofit for African American women, to invite her to speak in 21 cities nationwide. Veronica and WOW are the inspiration for the historic, iconic Black women collection painted by her husband, Hiawatha D, recently exhibited at the Northwest African American Museum. Veronica also published a coffee table book entitled Dear Sister, a sacred collection of love, light, and liberation letters from my sisters, feature iconic Black women images by Hiawatha D. They are co-creating an art exhibition gallery that will serve as an intersection of healing, education, and inspiration for the community in the Pacific Northwest of America. Ladies and gentlemen, without further, I want to introduce to you my sister friend, Mrs. Veronica Very.
Hi!
Oh my God.
Oh my
I just have to,
goodness.
I want people to see this
Yay!
beautiful work. Like, this is the book that called to me back in December of 2020. This beautiful book.
Mm.
It's available in hardcover as well as paperback, but the images alone,
Mm,
listen,
mm, mm. Mm, mm,
and you
mm.
have a piece behind you. So they're life size pieces as well. It's just an
Mhm.
incredible piece of work. So, sis, I want to delve into this line here, right? WOW was founded to create sacred healing spaces for Black women and girls to find their voice, stand in their truth, and tell their story. Sacred healing spaces. Tell me more about what led you to that.
Well, Lakeisha, I am just certainly so very, very thrilled. I have to acknowledge your wonderful introduction and say that it certainly was divinely orchestrated that we connected on Clubhouse, considering the fact that I haven't been on since. And that in that connection, it was as authentic in that space as you are in every space that I see you. I want to say that I see you, that you make my baby leap. When I see you, meaning my vision and my creation energy gets activated. And I think that's what we ought to do as
Yes.
sisters is
Mhm.
activate one another. Um, in 2016, I was inspired to say yes to a vision that I got in South Africa in 2014 to create sacred space for story time. Really, that's what it was. It was story time. I have been traveling the globe with women who didn't look like me, sis.
Mm.
And while I was doing that, the conviction that I had organizing women leaders from all over the world for high profile experiences that baby sister girls, and even when I was a little girl, um, didn't have, that didn't look like me. I got a peek into opportunities that I felt we should have, and not. And those opportunities were with China, but I wanted to create opportunities with our motherland
Mm.
for us to be able to connect ourselves ancestrally with um, our ancestors and our journey as a people, for us to remember our brilliance, our
Yes.
genius, our creation power, um, remember our strength, and remember who we are. Um, get to know who we are because many of us, most of us, or we as African Americans in America are colonized out of our power. We're enslaved out of our power. Um, and so I just essentially felt it was important to create space that was sacred. What makes space sacred? Um, our tenets are not religious, they are values that actually um, are characteristics. Um, bye bye. Saying goodbye to my husband. Sorry.
No,
He was coming to give me a kiss, but I was like,
that would be perfect.
um, characteristics that, so we're colonized into religion that talks about God.
Mhm.
Um, so in the mindset of sacred healing space, we don't center the space with a colonized religion, but characteristics that are love, light, liberation, and legacy.
Mm. Spirit.
Those characteristics,
Mhm.
love, light, liberation, and now legacy, because my husband and I are now doing legacy work. But it's
Mhm.
critical for us to create sacred spaces now. Love because you got to love yourself. You
Mhm.
can't love anyone else until you love yourself, and love because there was a love experience that changed your life.
Mm.
Light because that love experience that changed your life caused you to pick up a set of tools, establish a set of behaviors and coping mechanisms to protect yourself from ever experiencing that again. And so we get into a rotation of denying, suppressing, ignoring, avoiding, running, ducking, dodging, and hiding from our
Mm-hmm.
truth.
That's right.
So it's sacred because number one, when we sit in the circle, we see ourselves. But number two, because we have the love, light, and liberation energy that gives us freedom to tell the truth. That's what
Mm-hmm.
makes it sacred. That's what makes it sacred. Um, the fact that your voice and your truth is what is centering this space. That who you are centers this space. That when you look in the circle, you see yourself, and that in and of itself is sacred and medicinal. So that's how we qualify. That's how we center and consider space to be sacred.
And I love what you just said about seeing yourself, but I
Mm-hmm.
also know it's
Mm-hmm.
when you are seen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you just said something, it's medicinal. That's so critical right now, especially as we do this pandemic talk and this virus talk,
Mm-hmm.
right? The things that
Mm-hmm.
we know, the traditions, the legacy that we have, all of those things, the
Mm-hmm.
love, the light, the liberation, and legacy that we have, that has been a part of us, our ancestors. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
things that are going to get us through whatever pandemic or whatever illness, societal illness, whatever it is. Those are the key components that will get us through. And it is so medicinal. It is so healing. It does feel sacred when you're in
And
those
it's
spaces.
intentional that we're not,
Yeah.
we're
Hmm.
that we are gentrified and fragmented and divided. All of that is intentional.
Hmm.
It's intentional because they understand and they know the healing and the power that is found in our collective, that is found in our community, that is found in sisterhood.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have to center the medicinality, the healing, um, the therapeutic modality of our presence, you know, of
Yeah.
being seen by one another
Hmm.
and seeing one another. We have to center that.
Yeah. It has to be where it's a priority. It has to be where we make time for it. Because we can
Mm-hmm.
get caught up in all of the other, we can get caught up in all of the other things that, as you said, are designed to pull us away from that. But this is the center, and we have to always
Mm-hmm.
come back to the center.
Mm-hmm.
So, Veronica, this podcast is called Move Beyond the Block. It's inspired by the book that I wrote called Move Beyond the Block. And the block, it can be synonymous for anything. It can be synonymous for, your family and some things that you learn from your family, right? It can be in Chicago, unfortunately, it's a very segregated city, and we identify with our blocks and our neighborhoods
Mm-hmm.
strongly. We
Mm-hmm.
identify with where we come
Mm-hmm.
from very strongly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also it can be blocks, mental blocks, poverty, all these different things that keep us from
Mm-hmm.
shining, keep us from exploring the world and going to South Africa and traveling the world with other
Right.
women of other ethnicities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Believing in
Mm-hmm.
our power to even create something. So I would
Mm-hmm.
love for you to kind of tell us about a block that you've had to overcome, which just forged you into this work that you're doing.
There's a couple that come to mind. The first I referenced it earlier. The block of religion, which is really a form of control.
Mm,
Really a way in which to keep you in check, right? A way in which to keep you in line, to
mhm,
keep you on a particular block, right? So that one comes to mind because it was kind of the only thing that my mom had to reach to as a single mom coming up, matriculating professionally and all of that. And she looked for safe spaces, perceived safe spaces for us to for us to, I'm not sure if I lost you. Did I lose you?
Nope, I can hear you perfectly. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
okay. My
Hmm.
phone was ringing. I apologize.
No, we can hear you.
Perceived safe spaces for us to be occupied and have activity and such. So that was a block for me. It became a block for me because what it did is it tamped down, a lot of the mindset and the thinking in that space really tamped down my creativity, tapped down my vision, tapped down my freedom to explore and evolve and transcend and become and shine, right? One of the reasons wonder is so central to Wonder of Women. It's not the trick bag of Wonder Woman, but it is the accentuation and amplification of wonder that is in all of us, right? So it's wonder of women, not Wonder Woman, right? So it's that wonder inside of me that I feel was a block in that space. The other block that I can think of immediately when you speak, thank you so much for this topic, is the block of socialization into a particular pathway for education. So I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to see the world, right? And what was happening in the classroom was not lining up with my passions, my desires. It wasn't lining up with what was happening in my household, you know. Um, it wasn't giving me the intellectual stimulation I needed to be educated, empowered, inspired, right? Also, there were so many things that I disagreed with in history in particular as it related to our people, right? I'm like, this cannot be the truth. So the block for me, sis, was the socialization, not just the indoctrination of religion, but the socialization of a false centered educational system that didn't afford me as a Black woman, right, with this ancestral, creative, energetic power inside of me connected to a motherland. I would later see it didn't allow me to actually learn. It was a block. I was blocked. I couldn't learn. I couldn't explore, right? So I actually ended up dropping out of college and traveling. I was studying tourism, but I actually dropped out and ended up traveling. And in my travels, that is when the world opened up. That is when education opened up. That is when I got a chance to actually experience, different cultures and different marketplaces and different, ways in which people were being, because, and then learning and being able to reflect and see that this is just one way here in America, that people are living in the whole great big world, you know? And we were told so many things about Africa that are absolutely not true. When you go to see your motherland, you will see why they don't want you to love your motherland. You will see why they came to steal and pillage our motherland, because it is one of the most beautiful. I mean, when I say the most beautiful continent on the planet Earth, yeah. So I'm globally traveled, and therefore I am intellectually stimulated out of the block um, that sought to, cubbyhole me into a particular pathway of learning, into a particular pathway of exploring and experiencing, society in the world,
Let
you
me let
know.
Oh, let me just tell you
Mm,
how liberating you are going to be for some listeners. How liberating you are for me right now as a
mm,
parent. I'm a parent to a girl or a young woman, I should say. She's 21. She's
Mm-hmm.
still my baby girl, but she's an artist. She's a dancer. She's a choreographer. She's been doing it since she was dancing before she could walk.
Mm.
And she found that everything you just said, she was at an HBCU majoring in dance, but what
Mm-hmm.
she found in those classrooms did not feed her the wonder of her creativity. It was stifled.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
it took a minute, and it's still taking me to release that block, as you just said. But what you just said has really helped me and reassured me, because I get doubtful, like, oh God. But it's not for
Right.
me to be doubtful about. It's not my life, it's hers, right? So I have to release
Mm-hmm.
that I have to let her go from my own expectation. But I think that
Mm-hmm.
in this season that we're in, when graduations are happening and people are announcing colleges and this different thing, I think when people hear you, a lot of parents are going to be able to release that. If for children who are not choosing that path, be okay with it. Because as you just said, the wonder of the world, the wonder of who you are in the world really opens up when you're not confined. If you like school, fine. If that's the place that fuels you, wonderful, more power to you. But if it is where you don't feel free, then as Veronica showed us, you can move beyond that block
Beyond the block.
and navigate it in the way that feeds your soul and feeds your spirit. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you, sis, for that. That's
Mm-hmm.
helpful. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me, as you said, I just came back from Ghana in 20. That was my first trip overseas ever, and thank God it was to the motherland. That
Yes.
was right before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what is it that you now discovered about women, Black women across the globe? What are some of the things that you say, the wonder that you found uh, with us all?
So I appreciate that question, Lakeisha, because it makes me thoughtful about an encounter that I had with a South African sister who is now my very dear sister. Um, she and I had a real talk, true talk conversation about the fact that she didn't understand why why we didn't come for them when they
Mhm.
obtained their freedom, you know? Like, how come you didn't come see about us was her question. Like, we got this freedom and we don't know what to do with it. How come y'all didn't come see about us? Like, they have a perception of our freedom that is skewed by a block. There is a block that is preventing them from actually being able to see what our freedom really is and what it really is not.
Is it right?
And what it really is not.
Hmm.
And so, what I've learned is that there is central in our stories the same story. Underneath the layers of that block is the same story, sister. So we've created, and I shared with you that we've created sacred space in South Africa on a couple occasions. And from that conversation, I was able to invite her to story time, which is basically what we do. We center it with the Dear Sister letters and story time. And all you can do, sister, is hear your own story every time another sister opens her mouth across the globe. So for me, I feel like creating space for those stories to be told, creating space for us to listen and learn from one another, creating space that demystifies and, crumbles this block that is between us, actually creates space for us to um, heal the block, you know. Um, educate the block, inspire the block, right? So yeah, so that would be my answer. My answer is that we all desire the same thing. It's showing up differently because we're in different countries, but it is the same thing. And we have something to share, and they have something to share with us. Hmm.
Yeah, that skewed perception of our freedom uh,
It's a block.
is something else when
Hmm.
you go visit, because it's like, okay, you're American and you have the goods, you got the money, and it's like,
Nah,
but
sis,
you
it's
but
not really like that.
it's not. But you know what? You know what? I just from this conversation right now, what it just dawned on me that if we could see in ourselves what the other one sees,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Man,
Cause we,
man.
cause we have a skewed perception of them as well. Like we're like y'all over here with in your own country, in your own motherland. Like you are
Right,
powerful, like you are
right.
blessed, and they trying to get away. And if we could see what they see in us, like you have worth, you're valuable, like you know, because we're told we're not worthy in this
It's over.
country. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's over.
yeah.
That's why I desire so strongly to create that bridge from, present for present and future generations to be able to connect with their motherland. Because again, now you still you take away someone's ancestry, then you take away their life, right?
Hmm. Yep,
So that's
yep.
the whole intention. So if we rebuild that bridge, in the ways in which we can and have the power to do so,
And have the power to
that's
do
just
so.
that's life changing.
It's a
Hmm.
game changer, and we
Hmm.
have the power to do so. And
Big time.
that's what we have to remember. We have the
We
power.
got to remember.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm just really proud of the work that I have a girls organization called Girls Like Me Project, and that's one of our programs right now is Global Connections. So the partnership that we made when we were over in Kumasi, Ghana,
Mm.
with Bridges to
Hmm.
Africa Connections. So we are
Hmm.
now in partnership. Our girls are pen pals with them. They're learning about their culture, and the hope is to take take our girls, get them passports, take them over to do service projects so they can meet their pen pals. So
Excellent.
this is it
Excellent.
can't wait. It can't wait until we're adults. It
Mm-mm.
has to start now.
Mm-mm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to read from
Yay.
the Dear Sister book.
Wait,
Am
I
I
gotta
putting this
get
up
you a
here?
letter too then. Huh. I
So
gotta
I
pick
wanted
one
to
for you.
read this for all of the women who are listening. You are worthy of wonder. You are worthy of joy. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of unconditional love. Guess what else? You are worthy of support. You are worthy of
Mm,
healing. You are
mm,
worthy of sisterhood. You are
mm,
worthy of liberation. If you don't embrace your worth, you cannot receive the promise. Whatever
mhm,
happened to you didn't change your worth. As a matter of fact, it made you even more worthy. Release
mm,
all pain from your past so you can walk in the worthiness of who you are. When you do
mhm,
this, your world will change and you will
mhm,
attract things that align with your worth. Sis,
mhm,
do your healing work. Destiny
mm,
is calling your name. Love
mm.
your sister. Light. If you don't embrace your worth, you cannot receive the promise. And look at you sitting in that light right now. The sun is, look how that sun did. The sun was not shining like that before. Oh my gosh. Yes. I love it. I love it.
Could you give me that affirmation again? Affirmation again.
Um,
And tell me what page that is,
oh Lord, I didn't
please.
lost it.
Oh
Oh,
Lord.
no, no, no. Because I remember, oh, child, I lost it. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna find it. But as I'm
Okay.
looking for it, what I want you to do is tell us the next thing that's happening with Wanda.
Oh, this is
You said
exciting.
historical, but I like to use historical. You're doing some historical things right now. So tell the people as I look for that affirmation in that reading. Tell the people what it is they can expect you to launch and birth into this world and how they can be a
Mm,
part of it.
mm. Whew, I just had to take a deep breath on that. I'm so very excited to um Lakeisha said that Black love is my radical protest, and it's not just mine, but it's my husband and I have that we have literally declared that we can't get out in the streets and protest. As a matter of fact, we've done that in our lifetime. Um, but at this stage of our journey, we are building legacy, and Black love is our radical protest, which means that we are radically taking up 11,000 square feet of space to center the power of Black women and the
Yes,
power of Black love and
yes,
the power of Black community in space that
yes.
was not created and built for us. This is a luxury mall in the center corridor of downtown Seattle. And in the former Victoria's Secret, where we have been invisibilized and erased in terms of our beauty and our brilliance and our, genius as Black women. And we are radically taking up space in this 11,000 square feet of space for 6 months to a year.
Yes, yes, yes.
And this is just the start because it will be the launching of a national tour. And we certainly hope to bring this collection to Chicago, sister.
Listen,
Um, my husband has completed 50 plus ancestors, elders, and queens. Um, Black stories, Black narratives that we want to offer and radically insert to disrupt the trauma narratives that are told about us as a
come
people. So our
on.
baby girls
Yes.
and our baby boys and our men can stand up, erect, and respect the birthers of civilization,
Come with it.
Black
The
women,
birthers. That's right.
and remember our stories are a wonder. Okay, so that's what we're doing. You can
Listen.
find out more about the collection and more about this journey. The title of the show is Dear Sister, I See You. It is a healing art exhibition that centers Blackness, as I stated earlier, and our goals are healing, education, and inspiration through the power of love, light, and liberation. So that's what we're doing.
And legacy,
Starting
baby.
in
That's
Seattle,
yes.
and we're going to be exploring other markets to radically take up space in different metropolitan cities across the nation
Yes.
and to South Africa.
And to South Africa. Listen, that is
Hmm.
legacy. That is legacy building. And that is what we have to
Thank you,
understand.
sister.
Everything we do in this moment is not for us. We will get the
Mm-mm.
benefits from it, but this is
Mm-hmm.
for long term. As you said, we will be
Mm-hmm.
ancestors, right? And when
Mm-hmm.
we're ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
what have we given for the next generations to look back to? They
Mm-hmm.
cannot look back to 1800. That can't be all that we give them. We have to provide and do something. So I'm excited. I will be at the grand opening. I'm telling you, in
Yes.
Seattle, I will be there. Dear
Okay, sister, we
sister,
got to get you all set up.
yes. Go follow the hashtag Dear Sister and the other hashtag Dear Sister Letters. Follow dearsister.com. The I found it,
Dear
sis.
sister, I
So
see you.
Dear
Hmm.
Sister, I see you. Is that dear sister I see
Yeah.
you.com?
No, dearsister.com, but our hashtag for the collection for the tour is Dear Sister I See You.
Dear Sister, I see you. And if you follow Veronica on Instagram, you'll see the journey because she's sharing, unveiling the space, and as they move forward with the journey that's there. So, sis, this has been such a beautiful time. I did find the letter. It's on
I
page
appreciate you.
106. It's 106 in the book.
Thank you.
And the light was, if you don't embrace your worth, you cannot receive the promise. I
Mhm.
think we all need to sit in that.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mhm. And
Hmm.
remember, light represents the truth. It comes to clarify, it comes to illuminate, it comes to amplify, it comes to take us out of a dark place and into a glorious, powerful light so we can see. Because and that is the truth. The truth is we got to embrace our worth.
I
So
wish you
I
knew how.
appreciate you for embracing my worth.
Listen, I wish you knew how divine this was right now because you talking about light and liberation, and that light, that sunlight just came and set upon you so perfectly as we close out. So
Look at it.
again, I don't believe in anything that's coincidental. I'm all about alignment, and today is definitely aligned. I want you to repeat just so people, we're gonna drill this thing in so people know how they can follow you, how they can get in touch with you, and how they
Mhm.
can support the work because the work definitely needs support. So let the
Mhm.
people know, and if there's a way that they can donate or contribute, share that information as
Mhm.
well.
So you can go to Wonder of Women at thewonderofwomen.org. You could also get there by dearsister.com. Um, we absolutely would love, we are a 501c3 organization. So we are in this thing for real, absolutely doing it for the love of our people. Um, please visit, buy books, buy product. Everything that you buy is goes directly into supporting us creating this tour, getting our work out there. Not until recently have philanthropic organizations been so open to supporting Black this and Black that. But it's been Black folks who have supported us and held us and created space and place for us to do this work. So we just want to honor you and thank you for any love gift that you can give and share with us, especially by purchasing our products and sharing what we're up to.
And I know a lot of times when people think of non for profits and our work that we do in that realm, they think of charity and they think of, but this is not charity. This is
Mm-mm.
real
We,
hard work, legacy work. And I
mm-hmm.
just want to tell people the care and the intention and the love of the presentation of
Oh.
what you give. Like it doesn't come, it comes in a beautifully bound and creative
Mm-hmm.
box with art,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
collectibles. The
Mm-hmm.
hardcover book is a
It
coffee
is a
table
collectible,
book.
actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
even when you get
Mm-hmm.
the paperback, it's still a collectible.
Beautiful.
This is perfect for you if you mentor young girls, if you're an
Mm-hmm.
educator, if you have girls in your family. This is something that you should have. If you have a wife, if you love women, you should
Mm-hmm.
have this book and share this book. But you have stationery, you all have
Mm-hmm.
tote
Mm-hmm.
bags, you have
Mm-hmm.
mugs. So it's not just a book,
Mm-hmm. We
ladies
have
and gentlemen.
hoodies.
Hoodies. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can
And we're
support.
coming out with a whole line of iconic Black women hoodies and some really exciting stuff coming up. A
So
workbook and a meditation journal.
and Sis Veronica is available to do meditations for you, lead retreats for you, as she's done with Girl Trek all over the world. And you didn't know, I know you know this, but Chicago is one of the strongest chapters for Girl Trek with Sandria
Yeah,
Washington and
sure enough.
Kanika and
That's
all
my
those.
girl.
Yes, mine too, my sister. So
Yes.
yeah, this is we talking about Chicago, we talking about Seattle, but this is a worldwide movement,
And I'm
ladies.
not playing.
Yes,
I be serious about what I'm talking about. So I really am serious about Chicago.
yes. Oh, we ready for
Hiawatha's
you.
daughter is in Chicago. Our daughter
Really?
is in Chicago. Mm-hmm.
Where?
So we have a connection. Hyde Park.
So
Sure
Hyde Park
enough. Yep, she's
is
there.
okay. So we gonna have to talk later
Yeah,
because this too
most
much. It's too much.
definitely.
Yes.
I
So
know.
it's too much.
Did
This
you
is
make
too
the
strong.
Sandria connection?
I did when anytime somebody says girl trek, I always make
You already know.
Sandria connection. Yeah, like Sandria and I are Sandria before she became a yoga instructor, she was finishing her last hours that she needed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And my organization was doing our first Pamper Power Talk, and we
Oh,
needed a
sweet.
yoga instructor. So somebody connected us, and she used that time that she spent with us to add to her yoga instruction. So we've been rocking and rolling since 2012, and she is
Mm-hmm.
amazing, amazing. Yes,
Mm-hmm. Yes, she
yep.
is. Awesome.
So when she hears this, she's gonna be like, "Whoa!"
I
I'm gonna let
love
her know,
it.
like,
I
"Yes,
love
yes,
it. I love her.
yes."
And
So
she's
since
been out here to Seattle too
she's been all
for our
over. Like
retreats and stuff.
that's a
Mm-hmm.
real trooper. Like she will
She's a
go
real one.
anywhere. Yes. I'm following her
Mm-hmm.
lead to get I'm following her lead to get out
Yes.
of my block and travel
Yay.
and do everything. So
Well,
in
I
our
gotta
last
take you to South
moments,
Africa with me.
yes you do. Seriously. I am
Mm-hmm.
I know other people, Paris and all these other places are places, but I long to go to all the countries on the continent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I desire most.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
desire real community with women, us, our sisters. And I want to have just a global circle of sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do. So as we
Mm-hmm.
finish out, I know you are quite a busy woman and you got a whole store an exhibit space to work
To
on. But I,
populate.
yes, to populate and
Yes,
design
yes.
and intentionally create some love space there. But I want you to have the last words of your interview and just share um, a dear sister thought, a dear sister mantra that can move us all beyond the block that we may be experiencing.
Well, maybe grabbing a page out of the book is a good way to do that. Dear sister, breathe. Take a moment to reflect and just breathe. Take a moment to reflect on your beauty, sis, and just breathe. Now, take a moment to reflect on your heart. Dear sister, I see you. Just breathe. Is your heart opening with gratitude? Breathe. Do you feel the sensation of good energy? Breathe. Is there a sense of inadequacy trying to bubble up within you, sis? Breathe. And now that you've reflected, I just want you to make a conscious choice to choose life. Breathe. Choose to embrace your blessings with gratitude. Breathe. Choose to see your beauty from inside out. Breathe. When all else fails, my sister, remember to breathe. Love your sister. And your affirmation is liberation. Dear sister, I see you. Breathe.
I receive all of that. I really do. And I won't even. I'll tell you offline. But this morning I needed that.
Mm,
Um, just here in
mm.
Chicago alone with the violence and a baby,
Yes.
7-year old baby. My mother herself last night was rushed to the emergency room. They believe that he was
Mm,
about to have a stroke. So you don't even know how
mm,
much that just reminded me to
mm,
stay in gratitude, breathe
mhm,
through it, and you
mhm,
said something, choose life, choose life.
mhm,
And so
mhm,
that I hope this blesses you. If you're watching this, I hope this blesses you in the way that it has just blessed me. Sis,
mm,
I see
mm,
you.
mm,
I
mm,
thank you. Dear
mm,
sister, I am your supporter. I am your sister
mm,
in
mm,
whatever
mm,
ways I can. I
mm,
want to
mm,
bless you
mm.
the way that you bless me and bless so many others. Thank you for taking the time this
Thank
morning with
you.
us. I wish
Thank you.
you all of the abundance, all of the prosperity, just sending love for thriving, the legacy that you're building, you and Hiawatha. I'm
Mm,
just
mm,
in
mm.
awe of it, and I'm sending you all the good vibes and good energy. Thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you.
Ladies and
Thank you, my
gentlemen,
sister.
Veronica Very. All right. Take
Thank
care, sis.
you.
You are so
Thank you,
welcome.
sister.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us today. This has been Girls Like Me. I mean, I'm telling you, my organization, not Girls Like Me. This is Move Beyond the Block TV that you are watching. You can subscribe, share, and listen on Spotify. We're also on in the Google Play Store. We're on Apple iTunes. We're on Spreaker. Just about everywhere that podcasts are found, you can listen, and you also are watching on YouTube. So please make sure you subscribe below and share this video out. I believe it will bless others. And also make sure you make your way to dearsister.com so that you can, and that's sister, Sista, dearsister.com. So you can support and follow the work of Veronica Very, our guest. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to y'all next time. Bye bye.